Thank you, Sheila, and thank you, Alan and Neil, for all of you who have been a part of this conference. So much love to you and so much gratitude for being able to be a part of this and to share my story. I can identify with so much of what people have shared here today, with feeling like you were an outcast from the beginning, like you didn't belong here, you couldn't talk about your experiences. So it's just really encouraging to have all of those connection points through a conference like this where we can share our stories and feel loved and accepted, and at the same time blessing somebody else through those stories where we have those identification connection points. I'm going to kind of bridge into what Sheila started out with. She gave 6 types of walk-ins, and I believe that I have experienced every one of those in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not much of one for labels. In fact, my walk-ins now seem to be more of soul upgrades or grades, infusions of some type, rotations where my guides, who are me, I call them the me-we team. I don't see them as separate from me. I see us all as one. So when they come through, it's usually with light language. I don't really channel very much through the English language. So that started in '94 before I even knew what channeling was. So a little background on me. I came from a very religious upbringing in the Southern Baptist Church, and it got even more strenuous and more streamlined through the independent fundamentalist Baptist movement. So I was very, very indoctrinated from a young age. At 2 weeks old, my dad took me to the front of the church, to the altar, and dedicated me to the Lord. That's what he has told me several times. And I believe that he was recognizing something in me that he had agreed to support by doing that, by bringing me through that religious training, because it really caused me to own what I believe. Once I left that religious imprinting, I realized how much it had actually blessed my life and had brought me through so much knowing of myself, because I always had questions. My questions got me in trouble a lot of times to where it was almost like a mutual agreement. They were done with me and I was done with them, and it was time for me to move on. So in 67, I guess it was 1967, because I was about 7 years old, I had my first surgery. And this seemed to be a precedent for me having many exit points or choice points where I would go into an unconscious state of being to see, is this the time? Is this when I need to walk out? Now, all of this is coming from me looking at it hindsight. At the time, I had no inkling of an idea of what was going on. Survived that surgery just fine. At 9, my appendix were about to rupture, and we got to the hospital just in time for an emergency surgery, which saved my life. Again, felt like it could have been an exit point for me. Then I had surgeries after that for kidney stones. I was burned in a house fire. It felt like I was out of body and looking down as an observer on the scene where the house was on fire, and I was in the house and was reading my obituary. It was like I knew I was dying, and I was totally okay with that. It's like, is this the time? Is this the time? I was ready to go home. So no, that wasn't the time. So it was another surgery to repair some damage from the burns about a year after that. So we were still, putting the body back together. So that was not the time. In 1989, my gallbladder was about to rupture with a stone blocking the duct. Thought, okay, this is it. I'm out of here. Adios. Okay, I'm good with that. And I survived that surgery. So another exit point averted. When I awoke and found that I was still in Northside Hospital, I was pissed. I was not happy with the situation. I just knew that that was my time to go home. I had made amends. I was ready to go. And I remember waking up in the recovery room and asking whoever was around me, I didn't know who was around me, am I still in heaven? And she says, no, honey, far cry from it. You're at Northside Hospital, Fulton County. I'm like, dang, why am I still here? And it wasn't like it was a death wish. It was like a precognizant knowing that something significant was supposed to happen, that could happen at any one of these exit points, and they weren't taken. So fast forward then until 10 years after that surgery, in 1999, I was going through some emotional turmoil. I was feeling like there was something coming in. Now I know that there was a walk-in coming in. My marriage was shifting. My perspective was shifting. I was leaving organized religion. My daughter had to be hospitalized with some breathing conditions. Almost lost her on the way to the hospital. We had moved 3 different times in 4 different houses. In 3 different states over a 5-year period. And it was just an emotional overload. I was just absolutely overloaded. I had also been doing a lot of intercession in the church. I had activated light language, which we called speaking in tongues at the time. Although the church I was in was adamantly opposed to using any of the gifts, I still, being the rebel that I was, going to find out why we're not doing that. I activated at home in my own bedroom, just asking for this gift because I thought, well, it could really be handy if we could speak. I could go to another country and just be able to speak their language very magically and understand what they were saying. Had no inkling about ETs, about extraterrestrials, about people, spirit beings. Had just nothing in my training had prepared me for that. I just didn't have a reference point for it. So as I was experiencing all this turmoil, a lot of emotional back and forths within myself, as well as within the marriage, which was the first time my first husband and I had been actually in the same house together for an extended period of time. He traveled a lot and he was gone most of the week. And so here we are moving so that he can be back home with the family. And it was like, I don't know him. he became less and less familiar to me. And one night we were having a discussion. He and I never argued. It was just something we didn't do. So there was a lot of stuff under the rug, as you can imagine, a lot of things unsaid, a lot of things that needed to be discussed and pent up. And it made me, because of the emotional fight or flight condition that my body was already in, by the time we finished that, or were in the middle of that discussion, I passed out. I went down on the floor and felt like I was pinned to the floor and could not move. I could hear what was going on around me. I could hear my daughter saying, "Mom, wake up," because she was trying to get me awake. My husband at the time was calling my counselor to find out what in the world is going on. And he's saying, just leave her alone, leave her alone. And so they left me alone. And while I was in that condition, I was experiencing simultaneous bliss, as well as a lot of questions like, what is going on here? I don't understand. What is this? And it was very clear from some guidance, and whoever it was just said, relax and allow this to happen. It's for your own good, and you'll understand later. Well, later came about 3 years later, because I didn't understand at first. I was very confused. My body had been impacted not only by all the stress and the emotional turmoil that I was going through, but also now I had this high vibrational energy that was coming into the physical body, and it felt like my nervous system had just been blown away, just like it was frayed, like my nerves were frayed. During that time, I did go through a divorce, because after I got up off the floor that night, I kind of looked around and going, I don't think I belong here. I slept upstairs in my son's bedroom that night because he was away with sleeping with a friend, at his friend's house. And the whole night, angels angels all around me. I could just feel the presence of angels or some very high vibrational, loving beings around me. And I knew that when morning came, that I needed to be out of there, that I needed to leave. And that's exactly what I did. I came downstairs, found a suitcase. Did you need me, Alan? Okay. I found a suitcase and just started packing a few things, and I was out the door. I didn't even know where I was going. Uh, I ended up I would say a friend's house, but I had just met her at a healing conference, a healing meeting I had gone to, because there was so much going on in my life that I was seeking some help from counselors, and these counselors wanted to put me in a place where I could be almost like in a sanctorium, or a place where people can heal without being responsible for any cooking or whatever, so that I could just heal from that. I was very, very close to doing that when I realized, oh my gosh, they are talking about institutionalizing me. That's not what, they're saying one thing, but they're wanting to put me somewhere that I can be psychiatrically evaluated. I thought I was having a nervous breakdown. That's, the closest relationship that I could, terminology that I could bring to the table, other than feeling like, and this is what I told people for a while, feeling like I had died and come back in the same body. Like, it felt like me, but it didn't feel like me. It was, a lot of things shifted. I had to take a job for the first time in many years. I had to be fully supporting myself. Then the leaving the church was a big thing, because then you've got this hole, because all these people that you thought would support you through this journey have now kind of gone by the wayside. They're condemning me for not praying enough. Even my own family, it felt like, didn't understand what I was going through. So I guess that was when the big one really happened. That was the final, the exit point. So being an intercessor in the church, I did mention that because I was picking up empathically on everyone else's energy. Someone was talking about, someone earlier today was talking about, give me your pain and let me heal that for you. Let me take that in and just love it for you. I was doing that, but I didn't know how to clear my body. I didn't understand how to, and maybe I just wasn't clear enough as a vessel at the time to be able to transmute it, because we're all on our journey. And at the time, I just wasn't able to do that, but I was attempting to do it. I remember someone asking me, well, in your intercession, it feels like you're a surrogate. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm a surrogate for everybody else's pain and suffering. So I wrote a book finally, after learning my lessons through this initiation of learning spiritual warfare, and got knocked around quite a bit, some illnesses again, some more emotional turmoil in that part of my life. It was like warfare training. And, I finally got around to the point where I could write a book about being an empath, but still not coming out to say anything about being a walk-in. The world's not ready for that. I'm not even sure I was ready for that at the time. I hadn't told anyone but my mother, and I kind of think it just went right over her head, like it never even registered, because so much else was going on in my life. She's like, yeah, that's just another thing we're going to add to the list. So after writing that book, I began to realize, wow, there are some different ways that we can learn to manage energy. And that became my next task, to learn how to manage energy, because absolutely energy was having a toll on me, and it wasn't a positive effect. But all of that being part of our training. So full-time job now, went through a divorce. I had been the church pianist from the time I was 15 years old. And I think this is one of the hugest shifts that I experienced when this walk-in in 1999 occurred, was I put the keyboard away. I stopped playing piano. That had been a love of mine. I would play and practice and worship for 4 or 5 hours a day, even when the dishes need to be done or something else needed to happen. I was like, I'll be there in a minute. His supper's burning. I'm still in there playing. But that just stopped. It's like I had no desire for it. And I kept thinking, well, maybe that's just because I'm associating this talent that I have with the religion that I'm leaving. And maybe I just need to let it all kind of rest. So that stopped. A lot of personality changes, things that I liked, I didn't like anymore. My ex-husband being one of them. A lot of stuff came out at that time, a lot of healing that I had not allowed myself to experience and to really be authentic in what I was feeling. So not knowing what happened, I can so relate to what Marilyn Harper was saying as the BS, the belief system. This experience that I had did not fit in with my theology. I had no point of reference for reincarnation. We didn't believe in that. I even remember my daughter at one time, because she was still angry with me for leaving her dad. And I was trying to get her to do something. She was being homeschooled, and I was trying to get her to do what she needed to do. And she looked at me and says, "You are not my mother. I don't have to listen to you." And I'm like, she knows. She knows something, but I don't know what it is she knows, because I don't even know. So, yeah, just a lot of that. And pain. Oh, the body. My body had such pain. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. It felt like something had just been ripped out of between my shoulder blades. It's like one person who was able to see was looking at my body and saying, "It looks like your wings were ripped out." And I'm like, well, that's strange. I don't consider myself an angel by any stretch of the imagination, but that's exactly what it felt like. And it was like there were daggers or something hooked into my back. I didn't understand any of that, what any of that was, but the walk-in began to heal that pain, began to heal the emotional pain, began to just calm things down, calming the body down. It probably took 2 or 3 years, and I don't think I really integrated the experience fully until I actually realized what had happened. You know, knowledge and information is very powerful. And that's why I appreciate so much a conference like this, where people can get some information. They can hear stories that they can relate to, that gives them their aha moment. I remember it was probably 2003, 3 years later, past the big walk-in, the real one. And that I was working as a ghostwriter and an editor, and a local lady, was having me work with her on her bio. She was a walk-in. And as she began to share her story, there were just so many jaw-dropping aha moments that were happening inside of me. And it's like, what? That can actually happen? That was the best explanation that I had as to what could have happened. I had done research. Now, this was in the 90s, and there wasn't a whole lot out there about walk-ins. There wasn't a whole lot of books. I think Ruth Montgomery's book was about the only one that had mentioned it. So again, not having the information until 2003, I was in a wilderness for about 3 years, really not understanding what had happened. When I heard that word, there was something about the resonance of that word that just gave me truth bumps, gave me confirmation that, yeah, this is what had happened. But at the same time, my rational mind just could not wrap around that. That's just too far-fetched. That just couldn't be what happened. But I don't have a better explanation. So I guess the next 6 months or a year was me trying to integrate the possibility of this being my truth. So I didn't understand the different types of walk-ins. I guess it was Karen Good. She was a part of the original walk-in evolution that Ranoli and Marilyn and several others were in. She began to explain to me the different types of walk-ins and how, this is what she was seeing. And she was a really good help to me getting through once I've figured out what was going on. You know, the spirit just brings people into your life and all these synchronicities and the information you need right when you're ready for it. Um, so Karen helped me a lot with that. And I realized that I had actually braided. It wasn't like a complete walk in, walk out. And I think that's probably a lot of the confusion that I was feeling, because I still had so many imprints of the old soul that it was like I would flip back and forth, flip back and forth. One day I felt like I was the old Yvonne, and another day I was like, no, I don't even own that. That's not me. So in 2005, something significant happened in which, you know, I mentioned that my body has really been through a battleground. So in 2005, it was becoming apparent that I was going to have colon surgery. And I thought, oh, this is my exit point. Yeah, and this is it. I'm leaving for sure this time. And when I when I got through the surgery, I mean, I had told everybody goodbye. It was like, you know, I'm done. It's okay. Don't worry about me. Whatever I need to go through, I'm okay with it. And people were like, you're just having surgery. It's nothing big deal. It's like, to me, it was a big deal because some part of me was leaving. I felt grief. I felt sadness. I don't know if it was my body grieving the loss of this energy that it had housed for 40 something years, but there was grief. There was a strong feeling of grief. When I woke up after that surgery, there was no pain in the body. It was amazing because of how rapidly I healed. And I knew something had happened, and the old leftover remnant of who I was had exited more thoroughly. It was just big changes for me. Such bliss, and that fragrance. Every time I would have one of these, well, not every time, but 3 or 4 times when I would have one of these significant shifts, I would smell this angelic, heavenly rose fragrance, and it would stay with me for days. I think the longest it stayed was 12 days. But this is just the way I know that something significant has entered or left the body. Okay, that's just one of the signs they give me. I smell energy. A lot of times, even in the house, I will be sitting there and all of a sudden I'm smelling cigarette smoke. I'm like, I don't smoke. Nobody in this house has ever smoked. I live alone. So, you know, that's kind of like a clue that somebody else is is with me, or that you know, sometimes I'll smell leather. Just I smell energy. That's all I can say. So I knew that that was the go-to that let me know. So after that surgery, I began to realize that the soul that was in the body then was called Lavender Rose. Now I thought she was there for now on. I didn't know that once you were walk-in that you could actually have another walk-in. Or you know, I didn't know that this thing was going to continue, that we would continue to do this rotational kind of thing. So sixth dimensional, I feel like Lavender Rose was a sixth dimensional aspect of me. She felt angelic. She felt Pleiadian. I really resonated with Amora Kuan Yin's work at the time. Barbara Ann Brennan, which other people have mentioned, Hands of Light, that was really resonating with me at the time. But it felt like 14 years that this Lavender Rose was in the body was coming to a completion. Things were beginning to heat up again. Things were beginning to get shaky. You know how you kind of just float along for a while and you feel like, oh, I'm at a plateau, I'm comfortable, I can just kind of, you know, sit back here now. Well, things started heating up again and I knew something was coming. The walk-in, the Lavender Rose walk-in was dislodged through a head injury in 2013. I woke up 12:43 on the morning of, I think it was November 23rd, 2013. From a dream in which I had told some close friends goodbye. And I audibly heard something in me saying, it's time for me to leave. I have to go now. And then there was this swoosh, that sounded like one of those plastic cylinders that you put your deposit in the bank and it goes up the tube. That's what it felt like. A vacuum had just sucked Lavender Rose out of my body. So if she was gone, who's here now? What's here now? It felt like to me, the soul that Lavender Rose had replaced, that had left in 2005, had come back. And I know that sounds weird, but I woke up thinking, where am I? What year is it? It's 19. It's 19. It's not. No, it's not 19. It's not. It's the 80s. Who am I married to? Why am I in this house? It was strange. I started over the next 3 weeks. I was looking for things in the house that I knew I had in the 80s and 90s, a jacket, jewelry, things that, where did she put the keyboard? Where's the piano? And all of those kind of things. I remember opening the doors of the refrigerator one day, and I'm just kind of, how you swing on the doors and you're like, oh, I don't know what I want to eat. Oh my God, she's vegetarian. There's no meat in the house. All of these things that allowed me to, felt like I had come back again, but things were really different. She's married to somebody else. That wasn't supposed to happen. So you just learn to kind of roll with all these things after a while. Today, now, I am working with what I know as a team of light beings, whatever we call them. I don't think they like being called aliens. I don't think they like being called even extraterrestrials. To me, they're my beloveds, my we team. They're me, I'm them. We're in some kind of dimensional, cohesive group, if you want to call it a council, like other people have mentioned. I know that they rotate in and out. When the light language comes, it changes vibrations, it accesses different bandwidths. It allows me to jump timelines and into the Akashic records. And I feel like some of the work that I'm doing is actually rescripting Akashic records, that where a trauma has occurred in a person's life, we just kind of erase it. We take it out. And then people are able to, just like I was when that sudden shift happened and all of the negativity had gone and the old Yvonne was gone, they start feeling that as well. And what I realize now is some of the work that I'm doing is facilitating walk-ins for people. That I don't do it just because somebody comes and says, oh, I want to swap places with somebody in New York and I don't want to be in this body anymore. It's like, you need to deal with whatever's going on and I can help you with that. But if you are just wanting to walk in because you don't want to deal with your own stuff, we're not going there. However, people find me when they are going through or about to go through a walk-in, things are starting to shift, they're amping up. They find me online and they go, I just need to talk about what's happening in my life. If I sense during that time that somebody is undergoing a walk-in, a walk-out, an upgrade, then I may be called on. I'm always very careful to listen. I may be called on to help facilitate that. Kind of like a doula, a birth doula, because this is very much like a shamanic death. The walk-in experience itself. And so there's a lot of emotions that go around it and a lot of things in the body that's going on. And so I think I've just been placed here to help people who are going through that or who have just gone through that and their mind is squirrely and not knowing what to do and how to integrate it. So I'm helping them integrate the energy. Sometimes the energy that comes in from a future self or a higher dimensional reality or a various timeline comes into the body like it did mine, and it blows the circuits. And I feel like the reason I had to experience that is so that, first of all, I can identify with what that person is feeling. And second of all, because I healed it, it was healed through me, my vessel now carries the codes to help other people raise the vibration and open the DNA of the body to be able to house and hold those higher frequencies. So that's part of the work that I'm doing. I'm also, as you mentioned, a light language practitioner. I kind of got into that innocently. I didn't, when I was in the workplace doing ghostwriting. I was actually counseling people a lot because they would bring a book to me that was very cathartic for them. They're trying to tell their story, and there was just parts of it that they couldn't get through because they hadn't done their work. They hadn't gone into, what's causing this thing, and this what's coming up for you. So the ghostwriting and editing just morphed into a healing practice, coaching, I guess is what we're calling it, coaching. So today, I feel like what I want to do in the last segment of my presentation is to offer some light language. And I've got 3 different transmissions that I feel led to bring forward. One is to help walk-ins who are actually experiencing a walk-in right now, or some type of a soul upgrade. It may be in progress, or maybe it's just happened and you're having a difficult time acclimating the frequencies to the body. So I want to do one transmission for that. Another one is to open the 12-strand DNA, which is our original soul composition. That will help us to take the next step on the ascension path toward the avatar Christ itself, to bring us into that 12th dimensional future self, for anyone who is ready. Now, everybody may not be ready for that one. So if you don't feel like it's for you, just kind of hold space for the rest of it, for other people. And then there are others. You've heard many people on the calls today and yesterday and probably tomorrow who have spoken in light language. And maybe you're curious and going, well, why can't I speak in light language? Well, I believe you can. And that's another one of the roles that I play as an activator, to help you remember your starlight language, to help you speak your mother tongue, your native galactic tongues. So we'll move into that. And we'll take it, we'll do it 1, 2, and 3. So let's just kind of take a deep breath, get ready. Maybe we'll start by placing the left hand on the heart. Those who feel like they are having an upgrade or a walk-in, who feel like maybe they've had a walk-in and they're needing some support to acclimate the frequency of the walk-in to the physical body, to the biology. I'm putting the right hand on the lower abdomen. Let's connect the body and all of its systems, connecting to earth, to the ascension grids, the crystalline core of the earth, connecting with spirit and higher dimensional realities, with your soul aspects. Malavia sota karatande, donda ravilo kurta kerasunda mahni, male to kurata alai, donda lokuta, taravish kunama, urva kiroku, alevis donda makulaka. Valevisi londonam alevisi alokotaka ish kunavana, andona makula ye, ulave urisonta kamachikilavataka ashkanama, ondala yokon, amase, odalavekina, olamaste kina, ulavate, usante, maletoka, chande, ulam, namo, hate kurama, esate kona, ishkana muleva tokaraka. And looking into the frequency fields of the body, connection points within the grid and body templates. Odorom veriosa tokurota ale otsundare makiroto, arabido inchana, aratokradia, solokoria, arave esita kormo lata karistokuria shalabalokumato, either tondorabolo kilava, or a sindoro kunima, kalatakasakish kramoto ravaki rakash kanea. Working with the neurological and nervous system of the body, and within the brain. And dormolotoki o ashana malato kurma letorom kulkata ashkana dolava etisatuku ashana balota namalota kulma karyoshkula aratonkura makuri viersontoro mokwa arve ursum pian masolevika na isha. Namalokuma natalokundama Connector points lighting up the grid. Bringing peace and calm. Kalayota kaasa kano yasha tabekino no olova tikro sakila. And we thank our beloveds that this work, which we begin today with this integration for those who are experiencing the integration period of their walk-in, that these codes which we have activated here today will continue to do the work that they have been called to do, to carry the body all the way into its highest vibration, to support the avatar self, to support continued growth and expansion, to support, to house and hold the frequencies and codes that this soul has brought in and would like to share with humanity. And we'll pause for a moment and just allow that. Just allow that energy to move. Notice where you feel it in your body. A lot of heart expansion. Okay. Now the next one is going to be for the original 12 strands of our soul composition to be open to the path that will allow the Christed avatar level to be reached, our 12th dimensional future self. For those who are ready and feel resonant that this is what you would like to activate today. Itong kunda rabe solo to donda dinamaku ita koroto uja vashanta tunda di kolavi ototoshka hindana yendora ve sola matokunda ya ne oh de onde monte kura barra yetong kura ba mero sula ya ne tokara makia lo tikwa hande 100 kilo Shukura vaka chichana ondo na mola undonde kendo era rea endo no dejo indi ave undo lumbo kiore handero hunye ere o ana kai Eodakaneo, oh, neme aleo. Kalamakia. Kula sototonda la makiano, uno dolama ka a heshita kolai, ito sundo na mula vai, dola mata kara, tu chishata. Chita kurut Onda by still Namo. Talavaya Kulmakaria, Kulmakar, Isolava, Ido Saitikian. Antonto, Eva, Suka, Ironda, Runda Kalaki, Mia solo pochica. Donna male ki hola te puna, onda la vacina con la candachina calaye. Anduna malu vaiu. Anduna mahia. Dondaravaye Lord, Ondaravaye Kolai. Ondo Congo, Ishkunamoto Vaihi, Ondo Vihino Nona, Matakulia Socorva, Hashkenonta, Hashkenonta, and Malavro Trisha, Titako, Kitakondaki. Deep breaths and take it in all the way through the physical body. The personal 18 inches of your Taurus. Anchor it, ground it. Connecting with that star family to help support the ongoing work that this has opened and activated today. It is a process. We are with you. We will continue to carry this work throughout to its completion. In the next one, the third transmission, we want to activate the remembrance of our star languages, the ability to speak it, to sign it, to dance it, sing it, tone it, write it, and express it in multiple forms. We are light. We send out light. And we ask now that the guides, the personal guides for each person who is ready and willing and wanting to open their light language would bring the remembrance and to work with each person to open that memory. Now, your guides aren't going to do it for you. You're going to have to make some noise. You're going to have to at least open your mouth and see if anything comes out. You may feel a lot of pressure in your throat. It may be in the heart or the solar plexus. All of that is signs that you're activating. And if you will make some type of a vibration in your throat, even if it's just a grunt or a growl or a groan or something to vibrate, you will open the chakra and open the portal for the memories to come through and for the light languages to be activated. Express yourself. Let the song of your soul come through. Araki oraki arani. Dakarai nara nero nakirura vealeno koraye. Eleve onahi anakai orowa. Kondoki ala yasaba. Domana viala baraya prabakiana. Umaria kola bakina maka. Let your lips move. Vowels are good. Ohms are good. Dondana malayaka. Ola tekarale. Oliasa. Oliasando kunda. Anya mandelita de rolenda. No kaleno ahaya. Animal sounds may come through. Bird sounds. Humming. Any sound or vibration. Allow it to activate your chakra to bring your languages through. Open the memory now. Andala, andala, andale nakaya, andala ye nakayu. Andayana yelo, andavame, ame, ame, amelo do kiana, yalabe. Ochinamake, ochante, no chante, kunamale, kunamaka, ati tushinamaka. Omani, Omani, freedom, Agadia Kutamaka, Lea Sanania, Ati Tinini, Ati Nakuri, Tinini Fire, Shinana, Ale Tukunamolo Davai, Ani Kale, Ete Kunda, Kale Kale, Onda Yishana, Hatekunilo Kinamaka, removing any blockages, and allow your song, your heart song to come through. Donda ila, iana, iana moloma, iateza, ila quinta, alandi son dala mataka. Isha, 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 isha. Ula vatikiro, hande, hande, hande kunda mahi, ndoma kula bakaya. Ora vari sulu fusi yana kalakata chuchuchuna kalakata tota hiena ka. Just allow it to continue. Allow your lips to continue to move and your throat to vibrate. Ooh, and if you're feeling that pressure, just remember that the more you can vibrate, the more energy it will release. It's like pent up and it wants to come through. Now, I would love to know in the comments, or if anyone would like to share what they experienced in any of those 3 transmissions. And I'm also open to any questions that you might have about my walk-in story.
Okay, let's see. Yvonne, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is it Lainey said that she was answering out loud and writing codes?
Yay!
She was drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine said, oh, go ahead, Catherine.
No, go ahead. That's all
I
right.
was just
Go
going to say,
ahead.
Catherine says, wow, feeling in solar plexus, kept getting Akabash, just checked it. Akabash dog is native to Turkey, and it's primarily used as a livestock guardian dog or shepherd. She may have had that flashback to a lifetime in Turkey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, so what else, Sheila?
Let's see. Jane says, wow. Hildegard, interesting that you had a house fire also. Hildegard had one.
Oh.
Lane, thank you. Hildegard says she thinks that she's finding her singing voice. Woohoo, Hildegard.
Go, girl.
Yeah. Right, Catherine's reading. Do you want to share some?
Go ahead. I'm just seeing what else.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There you are. Let's see.
Let me just see what.
I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. So they walked in 62, waiting for today. Great graduations, hugs and tears. Woohoo! Congratulations.
Aww.
Oh, and here's someone says, I always wanted to speak light language. Thank you for initiating this in a safe and sacred space.
Yes.
Awesome.
And someone says, my dog was singing with me.
Oh, it's always fun to see how the animals, they may be in the other room, and as soon as we start light language, they're like, hello. I recognize that. And here they come. They want all up in what we're doing. Yeah, cats and dogs come out of the woodwork when we start doing light language.
That's what Pamela says. Pamela says, my cat was staring at me like it was from another world during the light language. Smiles. Okay.
Beautiful.
Someone said, Don says, Yvonne, it's so excited to hear you after reading your book. Really excited to see how the activations influence my journey from this moment on. That's great.
Yay.
Wow.
Yay.
I I keep it's and always speak language to them. Oh, I guess that's her animals. I spoke some language when I was in high school. Always thought it was Aramaic, but it seems like more light language.
A lot of people are, as children, were actually speaking light language and didn't realize that's what it was. And maybe they even had an adult tell them to stop.
Right, right. And what's the difference between that and speaking in tongues, or is there really no difference?
I don't find there's a difference. The same dialect that I activated in 1994 in my bedroom while I was under the religious doctrine is like a root language or a basic foundation, a go-to point, like it's my native tongue. But then I'm able to access other bandwidths as needed. If a client comes in and they need a different language, I'm always amazed and surprised by what may come through in sessions. So it's very individualized.
Wow.
Now it sounded like some bird sounds were coming through. Is that from a different galactic area?
I feel like it's blue avian.
Okay.
The bird tribe returning.
Yeah, Pamela says that she realized that she was speaking clicking language as a child. Yeah, awesome.
Yep.
A clicking language, that's sort of dolphin-esque too. Clicking is like a dolphin sound. Let's see what else we have here, Sheila.
Well, I just wanted to ask you, Yvonne, so for people who have now had this activation, what is it that they need to do in order to anchor this more fully into their being?
Keep practicing. Go to my website. I've got some free audios on there. You could spend all day listening and sing along with me. Sing along with me. Let it come forward. Let it bless you for your personal life to build up your foundational, you build up your frequency to raise your vibration. You may find that now that you have activated, if you are working with clients, you may find that it automatically pops in while you're working with the client and it wants to manifest to take this to a new level. Especially if you're one who's working with a lot of talk therapy, sometimes the words just can't get to the pain. The light language moves past the mental construct and straight into the heart and straight to the vibrational frequency where that trauma is being held, and it undoes it. It's like it unknots it, whether it's a neural pathway or a physical condition in the body that's being caused by holding onto a detrimental frequency.
So that's how you work with people when they come to see you,
Yeah.
and the frequency just comes and you sort of break it apart with sound, like a sonar. Do you ever get whales or dolphins, or you do?
Yes. In fact, there's one on my website under one of the light language albums that I did with a guy in France who does some electronic music, and whales and dolphins came through on that one. It was called Opus 1.
Wow, nice. Someone's asking for your contact information. Well, you put that at the end.
Sure. Yeah.
So your own evolution, I'm curious about where you think you've been through so much. It's quite an intense story. I mean, what do you feel is like your next step?
I feel like I'm just here because of what's about to happen. I feel like there's so much division and turmoil right now. I feel like I'm a resource, that I will be there to help people who are having some experiences, who are going through some hard times and grief, to help with them, their emotional field, their emotional bodies, to help heal that. I work with body templates, but a lot of that is connected to the emotional and mental fields. And so the codes that we're speaking will work with that. So I feel like that's where I'm headed. I'm also working with other people who are speaking light language or who have the calling for intercessory prayer. I have a group that we meet. It's open to anybody that would like to participate. And we pray together for world issues, for the fields. We work with the fields of light. We work with earth grids. We work with the beloveds who are non-physical. So we never know what's going to happen in those meetings, but it's always powerful. So.
And what someone else says, I can reveal language encoded in any graphic, but as far as I know, will the rest come? The soul understands all, but the form seems to be behind the curve as of now.
And I think that's why I was led to do the 3 different activations, because some of you are hearing the loud ringing in your ears. And from what I understood, thank you, Philip, on Thursday night, that helped me understand that that was just energy that was needing to be transduced and stepped down.
Right.
So yeah, I have been working with that consciously, and the ringing in my ears has definitely lessened since then.
Oh, really? Because I get that
Information.
sometimes.
Thankful for that information. That was like a nugget, a
Wait, because
jewel.
I get like a sound frequency coming through,
Mhm.
and what is that exactly? What did you say to lessen that?
I I
To
was actually
integrate.
I was actually stepping it down. I was kind of like seeing, these big transformers that you see up on these electrical power lines that look like they're
Hmm.
standing up with their arms like this. The voltage that's going through there is dangerous. It is so high voltage that
Yeah.
it cannot be utilized for any running of appliances or anything in that currency, in that current. So what a lot of us are doing is stepping that down. We are like transducers that steps down the frequency into a vibrational or sonic essence that can be utilized by the body, the psyche, the mind, like plugging in now into a 120 instead of
Mm,
plugging into the mainstream. We're
right.
all plugged in, but this is the transducing is something that I've just been working with for the last couple of years.
Right. And what did you say? Now something is coming. What is coming?
I feel like we're about to have that big shift, and some of it's going to be unrest because of the political situation. When one power establishment is coming down and another one's rising, there's this point where it's all just kind of confused and mashed in together. People are going to have a lot of questions about that. There are going to be a lot more walk-ins, I feel like, and people that are going to need to know how to integrate that. People are activating their light language. They're not going to know what it is when they're out there in mainstream and they wake up in the middle of the night speaking in their languages. They're going to have some questions. So I feel like I'm a resource to
Mhm.
help answer some of those questions.
But didn't we just have that shift in 2020? I mean, was that the beginning? Is it going to?
Oh, we're just starting.
Oh, really? All right. That's good to know. All right. All right. Because that was like a whole other timeline for planet Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
just, we took a little left turn there in the
Mhm,
regular ways of going. And then
mhm,
boom, here we are in this other dimension. So
mhm.
it's probably more walk-in friendly in this case.
I think what we're doing here and what we're experiencing in this conference is going to become the new norm. It's
Mm,
not that we are going back to the old ways, the old programming. We are actually in a new frequency. We're in a new paradigm.
mm,
And so people who are awakened and have the information that we're assimilating here this weekend, it's going to be taken to the mainstream.
mm.
We're going to be called on to help people integrate.
But we need to have a redefinition of the soul, which means religions have to sort of step aside. I mean, this is
Mhm.
a complicated process to integrate this information into the mainstream. For everyone here, it's probably this is what we're looking for. But what do you think about that? How are we going? And then we should wrap up. But and what
Yeah.
do you think about overthrowing those religious beliefs that
I
stop
don't think
this?
we're going to have to overthrow them. I think it's what
Okay.
everybody has said on this call. There's been a common thread: love, love, love.
Right. Thank you.
When that's it. I have been sent back to church. It was not my choice. It was something I even was resistant to because I don't want to go back into the doctrine, but I'm a bridge. And
Mhm.
so when I go there and I sit there and I hear those things that are coming from the pulpit, I'm just sitting there praying in my light language under my breath, maybe quietly, or during the worship. I'm really letting the light language fly there because I'm bringing in codes that will help them awaken from wherever they're at. I'm not there to change them. I'm there to offer the vibration that will allow their souls to awaken.
Yes, and I thank you for doing that. You should just sneak
You
into every church and just do that. But that's great because it is the vibration. People suddenly have this realization and they'll have a new thought and they'll say, oh, maybe something else is possible. So I think
Mhm.
that's really
Mhm.
important. Maybe that is what all of us are doing here,
Yeah, yeah.
spreading out through the population to just change the frequencies in whatever way we do it.
And for me, it is the love.
Mhm.
I've had several conversations with a few people on one-on-one. I didn't just go back to Sunday morning church. I got in a book club. I got in a
Right.
small group. I've had some people over to my house. And so I've had opportunities to plant seed, and I'm unconditional love, listening to them, and with that same respect they are listening to me, and I feel like all I'm doing is planting seeds for change. They'll
Wow.
get it when they get it.
Where are you located? Which area of the country? Where are you?
I'm south of Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. If I might be heading that way at some point, I'll let you know.
Oh, please do, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I like Nashville. It has a lot of spiritual elements to it,
Hmm.
actually, the
Hmm.
town of Nashville. So thank you, Yvonne.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
I
much.
appreciate it. Thank you, Alan. Thank you,
Thank
Sheila.
you.